First of all, I would like to thank EUPAC for having me in this conference. As Mazen said, my name is Ahmad Skineh, and I'm the chairman of the European Initiative to Remove the Wall and the Settlements. Our initiative is an organization which works in the European continent and rejects the apartheid wall and the settlements established by Israel in the West Bank. Our organization is based in 2010 in the Dutch city of The Hague, which hosts the seats of the international courts. Regarding to the settlements, I think it's important to discuss this issue in three dimensions: humanitarian, political, and legal, as limiting one of them make the discussion incomplete and insufficient. From a political point of view, I think it's well known that the borders and the settlements are among the issues of the final solution. This means that no changes should be made without the approval of both the Palestinians and Israeli parties. Actually, what we say until now, that Israel is doing the best to stop all this agreements and try also to go ahead with continuing building the settlements and also continuing building the settlements, and also bypassing all of that through the first of bypassing all through the first of the differentiating between the existence of the legitimate and legal settlements. I think it's enough to say that now, after 30 years of Oslo Accords, the number of settlers in the West Bank has reached nearly 1 million. And it's enough also to say that the area of confiscated lands has increased from 16,000 in 2020 up to 63,000 in 2021. I think all of that is more than enough to say that the current position of the EU, which believes and supports and works with the two-state solution, is no longer acceptable. Actually, every time we communicated with the European decision makers, they accord by their answers that they interest in the conflict in the two-state in the Middle East, and that their position didn't change by supporting the and adhering to the two-state solution. I think continuing hearing this kind of position without is no longer acceptable if it's not accompanied with putting a pressure on Israel. Next, please. Yes. Next. Before that. Yes. As I told you, continuing hearing this kind of position is no longer acceptable if it's not accompanied with putting pressure on Israel, because actually continuing the settlements kills any possibility of the two-state solution and kills also any possibility of the Palestinian state. And we saw that clearly actually in the map which was presented and suggested by the Signature Plan. It's worth than that. It's not only the EU don't put any pressure on the Israel, but also actually there is a kind of strengthening of relations between the EU and the Israel, and we saw that clearly a few days ago when the Association Council was restored and took place again in Brussels, but after stopping for about 10 years. I think this kind of contradiction between the European political discourse and its actions is due to many reasons. Number one, the historical relations between EU, European countries, and Israel as the Europe contributed to the establishment of Israel, especially UK. Number two, actually, the complex relations between the EU and Israel. We are not talking here about just political relations, but also there is a security, there is an economic, there is also a scientific, there is a military relations as well. Number three, I think also one more reason is the complex mechanism of the political decision making within the EU. Number four, also, I think one more reason is the great influence of Israeli lobby on the EU and the political decision making within it. Number five, actually, I think also there is a kind of the lack of independence of the European political decision and its dependency on the USA, which totally and fully and unlimitedly supporting Israel. I think all of that, all of these reasons, let us ask a very important question. Is the EU is really true to the values and principles which it believes in and the international law protects it, or the EU put all of that aside when it comes to its political interests? I think it's a big question we have to ask about that, especially nowadays when we saw what happened and the fully supporting of the EU for Ukraine against Russia, and talking about a kind of occupation, and we say we see the same situation there in our land in Palestine. From a humanitarian point of view, next please. From a humanitarian point of view, I think that the settlements violated all the civil, political, economic, social, cultural rights of the Palestinian people. For example, the apartheid wall separated the families and prevented the access of the medical and educational services to many areas. We all know about the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice, which considered the apartheid wall illegal and demanded Israel to stop the construction of it and tear it down. Actually, and also demand Israel to compensate the Palestinians for the damage caused by the construction of this wall. But none of that has happened. I think there are a lot of examples like that, which in it Israel violated the Palestinian rights, and in the same time we always hear from the European parliamentarians a very insufficient and weak position. Yes, next. From a legal point of view, and I think this side of this issue is very important, because always we talk about this side of the issue without getting any practical, serious steps. I will not talk a lot about it, but let me remember all of us that Israel violated a lot of conventions and resolutions, starting with the Fourth Geneva Convention and also the Hague Convention, and also a lot of resolution of the UN General Assembly and Security Council, and all of that. Every time we mention to these resolutions and conventions, after that the issue is turned into political issue without getting or making or taking any legal proceedings. I will not talk about a lot about that, because I know that Adnan Sabah, he will talk more. He is expert as a lawyer, but I will end my speech by saying I hope that we today, as organizations and as activists, Palestinian activists, supporters from the from Europe continent, I hope that we can find a ways by it. We can stop this continuously crime of the settlements, of the Israeli settlements in the Jerusalem and West Bank. And finally, I will be so happy to invite you to visit our website and our social media pages for more information about our initiative. And thank you.